Your truth matters. The autumn sun poured gold over the quiet street, gilding the maples as their leaves shivered in the October wind. Ella Whitmore walked toward her mailbox, the air crisp with that bittersweet scent of endings. Her phone buzzed in her pocket, a notification that had burned like a secret all morning. With trembling fingers, she opened it. The university seal appeared, followed by elegant serif text that blurred before her eyes. Congratulations, Ella Whitmore. Based on your exemplary academic record, you have been selected as valedictorian. For a moment, she couldn't breathe. 4 years of relentless work, the sleepless nights, the double shifts at the bookstore, the quiet weekends spent trading laughter for library light, had crystallized into one perfect sentence. She imagined her parents' faces, finally proud, finally seeing her. Her thumb hovered over their contact. 4 rings, voicemail. You've reached Robert and Linda Whitmore. The words echoed hollow through her silence. Back in her apartment, Ella's eyes drifted to the wall where framed photographs hung in immaculate rows, monuments to moments her parents had missed. High school honors night, 2 empty chairs in the family section. Her college acceptance letter, celebrated with her roommate instead of her mother. Her journalism award, with her professor standing where her father should have been. The memory came back in fragments. 17 years old, standing on a high school stage with a gold medal heavy around her neck, searching for 2 faces that never appeared. The applause had felt like pity. Now, as the weight of her new achievement settled in, Ella reached for her calligraphy pens, a splurge from her first paycheck. Midnight ink spilled elegantly onto cream paper as she addressed her graduation invitations. One of them she delivered herself, standing on her parents' porch, her heart pounding against her ribs like a trapped bird. I wanted to bring this in person, she said, voice steady. I'm valedictorian. Her mother smiled, the kind of polite brightness people wear to weddings and fundraisers. Of course we'll be there. But Ella saw the flicker of calculation in her father's eyes as he checked his phone. Let me see, Madison has a cheer recruitment weekend around then. The air between them thinned. The promise was made, effortlessly, meaninglessly. 3 days before graduation, the call came. Ella, her father said, tone mechanical. Your mother and I have been exhausted with Madison's college visits. We just can't make the trip, but we'll watch the live stream. She pressed her back to the wall, the phone sliding from her fingers. I understand, she whispered, the phrase she'd been trained to say since childhood. Minutes later, she scrolled through Instagram. Her parents' faces filled the screen, champagne flutes raised, smiles flawless. Much-needed mother-daughter spa day. Treat yourself. The timestamp matched her father's call. Not before, not after, during. It wasn't exhaustion, it was choice. The library restroom stall became her confessional. Years of photos glared from her phone, every milestone, every empty seat, every celebration they skipped for Madison's cheer competitions. When Daniel found her there, his voice was quiet. They've never seen you, Ella. It's not because you weren't worth seeing. That night, she opened old family albums. Before Madison was born, she had been the center, her parents' arms wrapped tight around her. Then, slowly, she was pushed to the edges until her presence became a blur in someone else's photo. 2 speeches lay on her desk. One safe, polished, empty. One raw, unforgiving, true. Graduation morning arrived bathed in cruel perfection. The sunlight looked beautiful and meaningless. Her phone pinged again. So proud of Madison for securing her summer internship. Our girl proud parents. No mention of their other daughter, standing hours away, about to speak before thousands. Her fingers trembled as she fastened her cap. Hannah appeared in the doorway, holding a small box. Inside, a silver pendant shimmered, your truth matters engraved in delicate script. For courage, Hannah said softly. As Ella stepped onto the stage, her gown whispering against the polished floor, she felt her fear fall away like ash. The audience shimmered under the light. 3 seats in the front row remained empty, Whitmore family, reserved, untouched. She looked into the camera lens, the one streaming live for the parents who couldn't be bothered to come. Today, she began, I want to talk about what it means to be invisible in plain sight. Her phone buzzed mid-speech, a message from her mother. Couldn't you just thank us like normal graduates do? Ella lifted her phone and showed the audience. This, she said, voice unwavering, is what I received instead of their presents. The auditorium fell silent. No coughs, no shuffling, only the sound of her truth filling the room. When you speak up, some will call it attention-seeking, but silence is not peace, it's self-erasure. When she finished, the applause roared like thunder. Hours later, Madison appeared at her dorm door, eyes glassy, voice sharp. You've embarrassed the whole family. They said you'll be cut off unless you apologize. Ella opened a drawer, pulled out a leather journal, and placed it in her sister's hands. Each page was a ledger of absence, her own events unchecked, Madison's marked with neat attendance ticks. This isn't jealousy, Ella said softly. It's evidence. Madison turned the pages, her composure cracking. They offered to pay your grad school tuition if you apologize, she muttered. I don't need their money, Ella replied. I have a full scholarship. For the first time, Madison's arrogance faltered. I never realized. You weren't supposed to, Ella said. None of us were. That evening, they sat by the river with Hannah and Daniel. Laughter replaced the hollow ache that had lived in Ella's chest for years. Madison's phone buzzed with their mother's call. She looked at it, then at Ella. No, Mom, she said, voice trembling but firm. Everything she said was true. It wasn't triumph Ella felt, it was peace. The fragile kind that comes from choosing honesty over belonging. Months later, New York's skyline glimmered outside Ella's apartment window. Her walls no longer held reminders of who didn't show up, only framed articles, her bylines shining under glass. When the podcast host asked her what healing looked like, she smiled. Healing began, she said, when I stopped waiting for recognition and learned to see myself. Later that week, a letter arrived from her father, awkward, apologetic, lined with regret. Another from her mother, enclosing photos from Ella's childhood she'd never seen. Madison's text followed soon after. Professor loved my essay on family patterns. I quoted your graduation speech. Weird, right? Ella smiled faintly. Some relationships don't heal, they evolve into something truer. That night, Hannah and Daniel visited with champagne. They raised their glasses high. To seeing yourself clearly, Hannah said. To your brave new chapter, Daniel added. Ella lifted hers last. And to building a family of choice, when the one you were born into forgets how to love. The glasses clinked, a bright, honest sound, the kind of music only truth can make. Sparkles, your truth matters. A story about the cost of silence and the power of choosing yourself when no one else does.